AJ Moss stood inside the Oak Park bus station. His fists were clenched. His fists were always clenched. He peered through the gray, translucent windows, waiting for Peter. He was glad he could see through the one-way glass, turning his head mechanically to look from one side to the other and squinting down the wide street. But no one could see through the ads that hid the interior of the small, clean room from passerby. This was going to be an easy deal. Peter was a regular who had his money and never asked questions. But AJ had his dummy bag ready to hand over to any cop to prevent any further searches, or ready to pass up to Peter in case anything seemed out of place. AJ was ready. He squared his broad shoulders and turned carefully. Peter strolled in the open front of the bus station and over to AJ. He opened his hand to show AJ his cash. AJ's blue eyes glanced down at Peter, reading the numbers on the bill quickly. He gave a brisk nod, reached into his suit pocket with his fist, and produced a small paper bag. Rolled, closed. The exchange was made in silence. Peter nodded briefly, then casually strolled away. AJ crammed the bills into the same suit pocket, deliberately flipped his loose brown hair off his forehead, squared his shoulders, reclenched his fists, and stepped out into the sunlight. He had another customer waiting at the church, and the morning service was about to start. AJ then began his walk. In spite of his well-pressed suit, styled hair, and solid physique, AJ did not quite have the air of a successful, confident man. You could tell by the way he walked. His fists remained clenched, and his walk was very rhythmical, as if he was counting each step. He took 2 steps, then briefly swiveled his head to look over his left shoulder, 2 steps, then swiveled to look over his right shoulder, 2 steps left, 2 steps right, all the way down the long block, then a left at the corner, never varying the rhythm. 2 steps left, 2 steps right. A steady walk brought him to the front of the low, white building with the tall steeple in front. AJ broke his rhythm to glance up at the steeple and make sure no one was in the bell tower. The church was AJ's favorite place to do business. People trusted you more in a church. They didn't believe that you would do anything immoral inside these soft, quiet walls. Still, you had to be careful. Sitting against the back wooden pew, AJ laughed grimly to himself. He remembered when he cared about morals. Then his mom had the accident. His mom, who had taken care of him since his dad suddenly died, was unable to walk, maybe never would be able to again. Disability wasn't going to cover much, and since they had been scraping by on her multiple part-time jobs, they had no savings. He was only 18, but it was his problem. His mom couldn't starve, so he did the first thing he knew that would make money fast. He ran to Lo. His friends told him about Lo, and he had seen Lo making an exchange with a classmate through the window of a briefly parked car. Lo taught AJ not to care what happened to people who bought wares from him. Lo taught him never to dip into his own supply. And most importantly, Lo taught him that if he wanted to succeed, he could never trust anyone again, not even his mother. In his lap, he glanced around the rapidly filling church. Lo had broken one of his rules. He trusted his girlfriend. Lo was dead now.